I think anyone who watches the final episode of Exandria Unlimited Calamity will leave it feeling emotionally exhausted, but also happy that they watched such a spectacular mini campaign. Because I think this campaign is some of the best that Critical Role has ever been, maybe even the best. So let's get into this epic finale. The final episode begins with the Tree of Names burning, and over the course of an hour we progress in actual real in-game time 1 second, because a lot happens in that 1 second of time. And I knew that it was going to be a rough episode as soon as Paisha lost an entire arm, the arm that was touching the Tree of Names when it was blighted, and also 3 fingers on the other hand as everyone's magical items begin to explode. Except for the Holy Avenger, which simply rusts into nothing. Paisha literally dies from all this damage. Everyone goes down except Laerin, who is thrust out of the room. Then, with the help of Xerxes, Asmodeus enters the prime material plane. And in a moment that made my heart completely drop in my chest, Asmodeus says that he has nothing to atone for. Asmodeus says he did nothing wrong, and in fact we learn that he has been manipulating Xerxes this entire time. The father of lies, just pure evil. And as we've been talking about Asmodeus, I kept on bringing up how he is the father of lies and it could all be a lie. But I think Brennan really just sucked us into the lie. I know for me personally, I wanted Asmodeus to have these redeeming qualities. Because this is the thing, as the story progressed, we saw Asmodeus in a sympathetic light. But that's what Asmodeus wanted us all to see. And again, a shout out to Brennan Lee Mulligan for playing this villain perfectly. And what a truly terrifying villain Asmodeus is. He can kill the first knight of Avalir with barely a thought. And after essentially toying around with Xerxes for a while, Asmodeus reveals his true self and his true hatred of mortals. He blames mortals for the prime deities turning on the betrayer gods. Asmodeus loves his siblings and views his siblings as being corrupted. They were corrupted by their love for these mortal beings. But before that, his siblings are fine. So in the twisted mind of Asmodeus, all he has to do is kill all the mortals and all the siblings can come back together again and be happy. They can be a family. Or if they can't, then Asmodeus will just happily exact his torment across every mortal being in Exandria. He will punish every single person for taking away his family. Now, Asmodeus is insane to think this, but that's his motivation. And I'm so glad that Luis spun it around. Because Xerxes says to Asmodeus that he pities him. I'm glad he says this because I think we should all, to a certain degree, be pitying Asmodeus. He is like a lost, petulant child having the biggest temper tantrum. But we have to constantly remember that the Lord of the Nine is evil. That sympathetic side of Asmodeus, that is all a lie. That's an illusion. He does not exist. The betrayer, the father of lies, the destroyer of worlds, that's Asmodeus. And pity him or don't, he still turns around and threatens Xerxes' kid. Basically saying that his devils are already down there in Kath Moira, and they'll rip apart Elias. However, Asmodeus gives Xerxes a way out, and he creates the Mace of the Black Crown, the first of the arms of the Betrayers. Now, for those of you who don't know or have forgotten the lore, the arms of the Betrayers are the same as the vestiges of Divergence. They are just their evil counterparts. While the Prime Deities created the vestiges, the Betrayers created their arms. And the Mace of the Black Crown is one of, if not the most powerful of these weapons. So, essentially, Asmodeus gives Xerxes a choice. Take the Mace of the Black Crown and become a devil for him. Become one of his generals in the coming calamity, or not. Just die, and have your son die as well. Because make no mistake about it, Xerxes did not have a real choice. If he did not pick up this mace, his son was dead. And so, as Asmodeus leaves to Gordranus, the headquarters of the Betrayers in the Calamity, Xerxes is left to stew on this decision. And during this time, Loquacious is also dying, Nidus is making death saves, everything is terrible, and we cut to Seret. Serret has evolved to be my favorite character in Exandria Unlimited Calamity. Travis Willingham shows off his acting chops and his backstory writing to the nth degree, because as Serret returns home, he finds his children. He takes 2 glowing runes that will send the kids back to their mother, and it is one of the most heartbreaking scenes in all of Critical Role. Watching Serret trying to keep his kids calm and not let them in on the true horror of what's happening is, it's just some other type of feeling. It's like watching a slow motion train wreck. Like, you just can't look away from it despite how horrifying it is. And Serret tells his children all that they really need to know before sending them away from this calamity. Whether they'll survive or not is up in the air, but Serret did everything that he could do to save his kids. And then, with the house burning around him, he solves the mystery of who his children were. He reminisces on so much lost time as he was the eyes of Avalir. But then Serret steels himself for the actions he'll eventually need to take this night and flies back to the Calyx to help his friends. To help save not only the Ring of Brass, really, but the entire city. But the next moment we have to talk about is the beautiful scene between Xerxes and Evandrin. We were right, Evandrin was simply trapped outside of the world, although he holds no malice towards anybody for what happened to him. And I think this scene is so important because it shows just how much love Xerxes has for his family, and it grounds his decision for what he must do. Because looking at Evandrin in the state he's in, there's no possible way that he's going to be able to save Elias. So at the crucial moment between Xerxes either moving on or taking up the Mace of the Black Crown, Xerxes takes up the mace, binds himself to this infernal contract, and essentially saves his son. And then in another shocking twist, as Vespin Chloris in his devil form is there fully corrupted, Xerxes is able to purify him. And I don't think that there's a better way that Brennan Lee Mulligan could have played Vespin Chloris, because we truly get to see just how powerful of a mage Vespin Chloris is. And despite him knowing that he will eventually turn into a devil and that everything that he's doing is temporary, he does his best to help Xerxes. The infernal contract that will eventually turn Xerxes into a devil is being written on the Mace of the Black Crown. Vespin quickly sees it, recognizes it, and alters the contract to the best of his ability. At sunrise, Xerxes will fully transform, but he has until the sun rises. And I think we should also talk about just how remorseful Vespin Chloris is. Because one of the great things about Exandria in general is that there are very few just stock evil villains. Most of the best villains, I feel, are acting out of desperation or because they just made a mistake. I'm thinking about the Briarwoods, the Angel of Irons, and now Vespin Chloris. He was meddling with powers that he did not understand and now has paid the eternal price. And it is tragic because Exandria will remember him as one of its greatest villains. The man who started the calamity and killed untold millions of people. But now we as the audience know that Vespin was not a being of pure evil. He was just a man who made a mistake. But sometimes that's the line between good and evil. One mistake. But with Xerxes fully in control of his body, as Vespin teleports away, he goes and revives Loquacious and then Patia. And after this, the party temporarily reunites and understands that the primordials are rising. And if they do, they will wipe out Exandria. So there is only one thing to do. Somehow stop the primordials from rising and help as many people as possible get out of Avalir and Cath Moira. And as the Ring of Brass disperses, we get many, many great character moments. We get Patia going to the statue of her grandfather and sending all her knowledge and information to Serret's children. And I love the culmination of her arc, which is that you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't share it with people, then it doesn't matter. I hope at some point in a future Critical Role campaign or adventure that someone is able to find Patia's, I don't know, like ball of knowledge, this arcane library, and access it. Although that would probably have a drastic effect on the world of Exandria. But after this, I think we get Lou Wilson's best moment of the entire campaign. As he heads back to the Golden Scythe, he says, "Damn the Ring of Gold." He's not caring about the Septarian anymore, and Night Ash shows his true colors. He's a man of the people, and he is going to protect life by any means necessary. Specifically, he drops the badass quote that material means nothing anymore, and the only thing that matters is life. And these actions will save so many people. And for his heroics, Nidus gets stabbed in the back. Because god damn it, the city of Avalir just keeps on shooting itself in the foot. I'm tired of all these corrupt fucking people. And really, Nidus is too, because after he gets stabbed, he flips around and murders his, I think, second or third in command. The NPC in question was a pirate with Nidus before they came to the city of Avalir. But after killing this betrayer, Nidus also learns that the infernal cultists have also corrupted some of his automatons, and they will be wreaking havoc through the rest of the episode.
Hey everyone, before continuing with the video, I just want to give a shout out to the channel's affiliate and sponsor, OnlyCrits. OnlyCrits is an online store that specializes in dice sales and 5e adventure modules. They also carry in stock dice trays and other assorted D&D accessories. I personally love their spell scroll dice trays and their duck dice. I mean, look guys, they're ducks in dice. If that's not gonna sell you, I don't know what is. They also have other little small friends, like chickens or pandas. If you're looking for a fun one-shot, I'd recommend The Emperor's End, or if you're looking for a full adventure, I'd recommend The Mountain Killer. It's a short adventure only running from levels 4 to 6, but it packs a lot of epic adventure and mystery in those short 3 levels. And it's set up so that you can drag and drop this plot into your homebrew adventures really easily. I've got an affiliate link in the description below, and if you enter the code DUNGEON, you will get a discount on your order. If you want awesome dice, accessories, or adventure modules, check out my friends at OnlyCrits. And now, back to the video.
But we also need to talk about Loquacious, specifically as he goes to the Herald's Tome and begins to ready a broadcast. And it is at that moment that Lady Elminor the Unforgiving, the matriarch of the Seelie court, calls her children home to the Feywild. This powerful archfey is sensing the calamity approaching, and there is an ancient pact between the devils and the Fey that essentially says if something is about to go down, the devils have to alert the Fey. Because Asmodeus and the Betrayers are focused on the material plane. They're focused on those mortals. The Feywild is another plane altogether, and they're not concerned about killing the Fey. So, with her powers, the Archfey gives a gateway to all the Fey located in the material plane and gives them a chance to come home. Loquacious has an opportunity to live, to be safe, but he would have to leave right then and there. And Sam Riegel drops one of the most impactful lines, simply saying to the Archfey that he loves her, but he loves another more. He will stay with Laerin no matter what, even if it means they both die together. And after this, as he's preparing to give his broadcast, Loris, one of the Ring of Gold, comes to Loquacious and begins spouting some Ring of Gold bullshit. He's essentially trying to get people to not panic and protect the Septarian, protect the Ring of Gold and the higher-ups. Loquacious promptly puts a wall of force around him. Then he has the guts to broadcast to all the city and tells everyone to flee and auto nat 20s to convince all the administrative people within Avalir to stay and go down with the city. That's a straight badass move. And finally, after this, we have another heartbreaking moment as Xerxes goes to find Elias. And he does, and he's not a small child anymore, he's 13 years old. And Xerxes then gives to Elias a journal to tell him everything about his father and himself. And as Xerxes is transforming, he's just trying to give his son a little bit of peace, trying to get him to safety and know that he'll be safe. And just as quickly as he arrives, Xerxes sees Elias in person for the last time, as he leaves, heading back to the Astral Layrite along with everyone else. Sunrise is rapidly approaching, and Laerin is working tirelessly to try to send the primordials away. She has but minutes as the sands of time tick away before the primordials will rise and Exandria will be doomed. So it is natural, as the final sands are ticking down, that Vespin Chloris arrives and we have our climactic final fight. And it's a tense fight. The party is fatigued. They're not at full strength. They have been running around all night. They don't have their hit points, they don't have their magic items, they don't have really their weapons, but they make a heroic last stand. And I think the biggest and best moment of this fight is when Vespin casts a 9th level power word kill targeted at Laerin. And if this power word kill hits, well, the Primordials are probably not getting sent away via an astral ley line. It would probably mean failure. Or if not failure, horrible destruction. Maybe even a cataclysmic surge so massive that, yes, the Primordials are sent along the ley line, but everyone who's trying to escape Kathmoira and Avalir dies. And so 2 things happen. Firstly, Seret attacks using his Mage Slayer feat. And you know what? As a DM, this is the first time I've ever seen this feat actually be useful. But hey, every feat has its place, so good on Travis for taking it. And then additionally, right behind this attack, Patia counterspells. But there's an interesting series of events. Loquacious casts Silvery Barbs on Seret. This gives him disadvantage on the attack. However, it allowed Patia to roll her counterspell because she only is casting it at 4th level because she's drained from the entire night of fighting at advantage. And we underestimate Sam Riegel all the time, but he is so goddamn smart. Weighing the odds, he knew that most likely Seret was not going to be able to kill Vespin Chloris. So he did the next best thing and was trying to make sure that that power word kill did not get through. Sam made sure to give Marisha advantage when it really mattered, and Marisha still failed. But we had a final opportunity from Seret, because Vespin cast the spell Shield. Now this was obviously DM fiat, and in the moment I think Brennan was probably trying to save his ass a little bit. But the most important thing for me is that in the context of the story, the narrative, in the moment, it worked. It was an all or nothing roll against an AC of 22. And even then, the damage that could have been done from Seret was probably not enough to kill Vespin. At 14th level, Seret was rolling 7d6 of sneak attack damage. With his tomahawk, he's probably getting to around 30 points of damage. And that's averaging everything out. We knew that in the moment, Vespin had 35 health remaining. So, even if Seret would have hit, he still had a below average chance of actually getting the kill. But the dice work in mysterious ways, and Travis Willingham in that critical moment for that critical roll rolled a nat 20. And with more than 60 points of damage, killed Vespin Chloris, or at least sent him back to the 9 hells. And with that, the end game begins. The Layrite works. As people across the 2 cities begin to make their escape, we also watch as Elias, who has a feather from Xerxes' griffin, goes and jumps through the realms, reuniting with Evandrin. Xerxes' sacrifice was not in vain. The sacrifices of all the party members were not in vain, because we watch as the people, not all of them, not even close to the majority of them, but the people of Kathmoira and Avalir, some of them, are able to escape. The Ring of Brass made sure that the legacy of Avalir would live on. And as the Primordials are raised from their ancient seals, it has a devastating effect on Exandria. We learn that as they are thrust through the plains and shattered in the process, sundered with their very being, this incredible feat of magic, that the power released was enough to destroy a continent. As fire and earth mix and lava flows across the cities and dark smoke fills the sky, Dominus is shattered and will eventually become the Shattered Teeth. The literal jewel of Exandria, its smile, is destroyed. And I love the line from Asmodeus, if Dominus is the smile of Exandria, then let's kick it in the teeth. God, Brennan's story was so good, and he did so much great foreshadowing. And as everything is falling apart, Seret gets in contact with his family one last time, and he promises them that he'd see him again. And in this moment, I thought that it was a lie. I think probably everyone watching felt this heartbreak knowing that Seret would probably die, that this would be the end. But once again, the dice work in mysterious ways, and we can see Seret, the father of his children, who has a love for them beyond anything else, refuses to die, refuses to accept defeat. Everyone else around him knows that it's over for them, but Seret still needs to try. Down in the Meridian Labyrinth of a burning, collapsing city, Seret makes an attempt to flee. Not only flee the collapsing city, not only flee the lava, but the pyroclastic cloud that will be reaching hundreds of feet into the air from this devastation. The DC is 30. It is the age of Arcanum, and Serret is the only one in this party that is not magical. He's not a mage. He literally is just a guy. But despite this, so far, it is Serret who has the most incredible feats. Seeing an invisible person, killing Vespin Chloris, putting together all these clues. And with a DC 30 investigation check, Serret rolls a 31. And above the ash and fire, Serret flies out of the labyrinth and escapes the city of Avalir, the lone survivor of our party, as everyone else immolates under the fires of Avalir or in the fires of hell in the case of Xerxes. The calamity begins and the story ends. This ending was nothing short of beautiful, remarkable, and art. I loved every single second of Exandria Unlimited Calamity. Brennan Lee Mulligan, in my mind, pound for pound, holds the title of my favorite dungeon master now. I loved him in Dimension 20 and everything else that he's done. But I don't know another DM who could have told this story, at least among the main D&D streamers. If you have someone who you think could have probably told it, let me know, because I'd love to watch them and see, great DMing. And I'm not saying that others wouldn't have been good, but Brennan built so much emotion over these 4 short episodes. And again, Brennan did all of this in a campaign world that was not his own, with a lot of lore that he had to learn. Very impactful lore. He had to do this with a story that had to end a certain way. And it also had to fit within canon. And somehow, someway, he pulled it off in a way that made me get invested in all these characters and brought me to tears by the end of this story. This beautiful, amazing story. Were there flaws in Exandria Unlimited Calamity? Yes, there were. I didn't think the combats were the strongest. I thought the second half of episode 1 was a little bit slow. But would I personally change any of it? No. This is an absolute masterpiece of storytelling. At least for me, this is the type of storytelling that Exandria Unlimited needs to be. Because I'm sad, because looking at the overall statistics and numbers, Calamity did worse than the original Exandria Unlimited run. Now, via word of mouth, its numbers have begun to pick up once again, which I'm very thankful for. Because I'll stake this claim right here, these 4 episodes are the best that Critical Role has ever been. It might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I think for people who want to watch a great story, fantastic DMing, role-playing that is mind-bogglingly good, then watch Exandria Unlimited Calamity. While I was hesitant initially to watch this series, I now am recommending it to everybody I know. I hope everybody sees this show. And thank you all for watching these impression videos. I hope for all you new people that you stick around the channel. And if you need something to watch before Campaign 3 comes back, check out this video right here. And thank you for entering the dungeon.